Smackdown last night emanated from San Jose, California. Welcome everybody to Zeus Backstage. I am Zeus, and today I am backstage with the host of the DJ and Heel Show. It's DJ. How's it going, man?
What is up? And if Stokely Hathaway was there, it'd be San No Jose, okay?
Oh
Because
yeah,
he gets no hose.
that's it. That is true. That is factual. Guys, if you are new to the channel, please give us a like and a subscribe and leave a comment with your thoughts on last night's Smackdown. And that is what we are going to get into today. DJ, I'll start with you. High level, before we get into any specifics, what did you think of the show last week, which was coming out of a pretty terrible show the week before? How did you find it last night?
It wasn't as bad as last week, and that's
Okay.
the good thing I could
Yep.
say about it. It just wasn't as bad as last week, but I wouldn't say it was significantly better. I just felt like they just stepped over the bar was so set so low, it was impossible to go any lower.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the McAfee promo, let me put it like this. The promo itself, if we're just judging it on the promo, was actually pretty good and pretty well delivered by Pat and did what was doing what it was supposed to do. But if you're talking about the overall context of the story, it still makes no sense. What royal family is Pat McAfee part of? And like, why is this? And now why is Jelly Roll just randomly now the babyface manager? Like, either of these guys need any type of managers or any type of outside, people to tell this story. They have 15 years of history. Like they just had a match at King of the Ring. No one's mentioning it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Not how Randy feels slighted or felt, something about Cody beating him and becoming King of the Ring. Something that Randy already did, but you gotta, in terms of all the ways they could have told this story, they're going all the wrong ways about it. They took the worst option.
Yeah, I agree. And I just find, we'll start with the Pat McAfee thing, I guess, but I just find the whole thing so bizarre and so weird and so strange. And I remember when Randy won King of the Elimination Chamber and Cody beat Drew, and people were kind of complaining. And I said, for my sins, I said, this is what I wanted. Because I think they can build a pretty good story between Cody and Randy, given the material they have to pull from. And I never thought that this is where we'd be a week from WrestleMania. And I agree with you. I think Pat is a very good heel. I think he is a very good promo. I think his delivery is really good. I just think he's in the wrong spot altogether. He does not belong in this spot. And neither does Jelly Roll, for example. And I think the segment last night, I didn't really enjoy, but Jelly Roll being out there as part of this now just looked like a real eyesore. And it just made the whole thing just a parody for me. And I think they've missed, like you said, a giant opportunity to really do something, memorable story-wise with Randy and Cody here. And I don't think this is something they can go back to either. Once this is done, I don't think that anything they try and do with Randy and Cody in the future is it going to be tainted by this if they try and go back to it? How do you feel about that?
I feel like that's all dependent on the heel turn. Like if the heel turn with Cody happens and they find a way to pull it off good, I think the issue a lot of people aren't taking under consideration is there's a difference between the build and the show itself.
Yeah.
I think the show itself of WrestleMania with everything on the card will still perform to be WrestleMania. You know what I mean? I think especially how surprised we were off of the women's triple threat match last year and how good that was with how bad and inconsistent that build was and how it made no sense. It was the best match on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I think in terms of like the show itself, I don't think is going to be a problem with Cody and Randy in the actual match or some of these other matches that are on the show that have had bad builds like Stephanie Liv, or the Intercontinental title feud with Rey Mysterio just getting thrown in out of nowhere when he was supposed to have a match with Gunther, and now Gunther's having a match with Seth Rollins out of nowhere. You know what I mean? All this stuff leading up to it has been not good. But I don't think,
hasn't it?
I just don't think we can say yet it's going to take away from the show until the show itself happens. And then we can have hindsight.
Yeah, I agree. And I think we've had that a few times, haven't we? Like you look back at WrestleMania 31, the build for that show was pretty terrible, as was most of the year. But the WrestleMania is one of my favorites, actually. And it's often fondly looked back on, for the heist of the century and things like that. And I think the show itself this year is going to be better than last year, just on paper alone. and I think it will deliver. And ultimately, I think that's what people will remember rather than the build. I think there is just an air of disappointment around this particular one, and the quote unquote celebrity involvement. I know there's kind of debate whether Pat McAfee falls into that category or not. Jelly Roll definitely does. I just cannot think of the reason I don't like this is because if there was going to be a big overarching plan and there was going to be a long-term payoff to this, then I'd let it play out. But I don't think there is going to be. I just think this is Ari Emanuel getting his guy over so he can go on to do things outside of wrestling. And I don't think we're going to get a payoff to this. I don't really know what you think, but I don't think this is going to lead to anything exciting or whatsoever.
No, I don't think so either. And sorry, my cats are fighting in the background, so I was trying to
It's all
mute
good.
so they could keep quiet.
I know how you feel.
But no, like, I agree. I don't know how Pat McAfee's involvement's gonna do anything and get this issue more over and gain more fans and interest for Mania, which they're having a problem with how desperation they are. They're mentioning ticket sales on TV now. They want you to go to WrestleMania because it's underwhelming and not performing the way they expected it to.
Yeah. What do you think about what Pat McAfee said in the promo last night? So obviously the content of his promos has been a topic of conversation in terms of he's burying the business, he's burying Cody, he's burying Punk, he's everything shit, wrestling shit, WrestleMania shit, etc. And last night, obviously the big surprise was, as we expected, something lame like 25% off tickets. They even put a graphic up as he said it, and it was really cringe. But he said WrestleMania Night 2 is ass. Don't bother with that. And WrestleMania Night 1, if Randy wasn't on there, I wouldn't expect anyone to pay to go and see it. But here's 25% off. What do you make of this whole burying the business on television?
I'm going to shout out someone because they kind of put out a theory out there that I recently saw a clip of and listened to. Andrew Begala mentioned this.
Yes.
And I thought he made a really good point when he mentioned this. I wonder if if they're possibly setting up something for next year's Mania, maybe doing some advanced booking, making this Mania's build be kind of bad so next year's build can at least have a backstory to kind of why it's bad. So when they pull off the long tour, the IWC fan people, the man of the fan versus the corporate guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Randy and Pat McAfee have been kind of more of the corporate, WWE kind of side of things in terms of where they represent the feud, to where Cody's at least is trying to be, is failing completely, but he's trying to be the guy of the fans. You know what I mean? Represent who we are and our viewpoints. And it's kind of the same thing with Punk and Roman. Roman's more of the corporate version, the corporate guy. I'm the guy. I'm the main event. I'm blah, blah, blah. To where Punk is, I'm the man of the people. I call out The Rock. I call out Ari Emanuel in promos. You know what I mean? So I think they might be doing something in for the future to where it's the corporate guys versus the people for the IWC. Because at least from what I'm seeing the past few weeks, those are who these promos are targeted towards.
Yeah.
At least the McAfees, the Punk promos, the Cody promo when he came out and shot on screen after because he was pissed. So I think they've been trying to appease to the certain audience that's been telling them this is bad. We don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And at least explain themselves.
I think you made a good point. There are the archetypes there, aren't they, of the corporates and the fan favorites. But I think it works a lot better with Roman and Punk. Because Roman, I think, plays a better corporate guy than Randy does. And Punk, I think, plays a better, voice of the crowd than Cody does. Not anything against Cody. I just think Punk's got that natural ability to do that. So I do find it interesting that Pat inserted himself into this one rather than the Roman and Punk one. But you might be right. I mean, I think even if we don't get anything on screen, there probably is a crisis backstage that isn't going to play out on TV between creative and the higher ups. I imagine there is some legit frustration if Ari Emanuel is kind of putting his fingers all over creative. That's got to be frustrating. People are talking about Triple H losing his job. I don't think that's going to happen. If he leaves, fair enough, but I don't think he'll get fired. But I just would never have thought we'd be in this position. And I think if you asked 1,000 people, who would you want to be on the mystery caller? I don't think anybody would have said or preferred Pat McAfee if they could have chosen. And I just think that it's a waste of Pat McAfee as well, because I think that what his work is good. What he does and says is good. I just don't think it fits the main event, especially when you've got Jelly Roll involved as well. It's just an absolute mess. But
Yeah, I would expect him to be involved in like the Penta stuff or
yeah.
like be Danhausen's mystery partner since Jelly Roll's getting involved in the main event stuff now.
Hmm.
Or you know what I mean? It just feels kind of forced. And
Yeah.
like I don't think the issue is just Pat McAfee. I think the issue just underlies Pat McAfee is just a big exclamation point on the bigger issue of since last year at least, WWE has prostituted the involvement of celebrities
Hmm.
into their either main event storylines or just on their shows in general. We had Travis Scott and The Rock just interjected themselves in the Cena Cody story out of nowhere last year with no payoff
Yeah.
whatsoever. Now this year we got Pat McAfee out of nowhere, Jelly Roll out of nowhere, Lil Yachty out of nowhere.
I Show Speed.
I Show Speed's about to have a match.
Hmm.
It's like not this year they're using the celebrities and the involvement of the celebrities to get people more interested in the show than the
Hmm.
people who are on the show themselves and the issues that they're having.
Do you know what
And
worries me? What worries me
yeah.
is this is the third year in a row where a TKO call has interfered in the main event of WrestleMania. They got away with it
Hmm.
in 40 because it was great, because it was The Rock. They didn't get away with it last year with Travis Scott. And they're sort of doing it again this year with Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee. I mean, I don't know if Ari Emanuel is a Jelly Roll guy. Potentially, I can't see, but we've had celebrities at WrestleMania for years. Snooki's got the same win record as Gunther at WrestleMania, that kind of shit. Um, it's true. Look it up. It's true. That is a fact. Until next
No, it's
weekend.
funny because it is true.
Yeah. Until next weekend, but we'll get to predictions later. But I don't mind celebrities at WrestleMania. It's a spectacle. But in the main event for the most prestigious prize between two guys who have this much history that has not been tapped into, it just seems like the worst idea. And I don't even think it's going to work how they want it to. I don't think there's going to be any long-term benefit of this whatsoever. I mean, if it worked, they wouldn't have to reduce tickets because people would just buy the tickets because they're interested. But the fact they're doing this and they're reducing tickets, so you've got people saying the product sucks even more now, and you're making less money on tickets for the next 3 days because you're desperate to sell them. It's a lose-lose at the moment. I just don't see how this is going to work
It's a
out for anybody.
lose-lose-lose situation, I think, because the only way out of it I see for them is to turn Cody heel.
Yeah, which they probably should have done in the first place.
And that's an option. I just don't think that's an option on the table for TKO right now. I don't think, not even TKO board or WWE. I don't think they want to turn Cody heel. I don't even think Cody wants to turn heel at this point.
No.
He's fought against it so hard. If you've been a fan of Cody Rhodes within this past decade, you've known for at least the past 6 or 7 years, he's fought vehemently hard to not be a heel, to be the top babyface, to be the guy who was loved everywhere. Kind of like his father. As much as he wants to say, I want to shy away from my dad's career and do my own thing. It's kind of ironic how you want to be just the big, kiss your baby face. And it's like, I think he's the last person who wants to do it. I think WWE and TKO kind of agree with him. And unless they're just pulling the wool over our eyes for this and just going, listen, we're going to do an epic heel turn with Cody. We're going to do a double turn, because Randy's pretty much been the babyface in this entire feud.
Pretty much.
Not verbally, but if you're just listening to that crowd, Randy's the babyface, Cody's the heel.
And that's what I find interesting is that they laid that up, didn't they? That was laid up for them. It was laid up for them the crowd was booing Cody, the crowd was cheering Orton. And the fact that they said, instead of going Cody heel, fine, we'll get somebody who people hate more than Cody so that Cody gets cheered by default in Pat McAfee. So they've chosen the more difficult option as long as it avoids turning Cody heel. So I do think there is a desperation not to.
I think it's going to be like Hogan Rock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the crowd is going to turn on Cody and just, we're behind Randy. We want Randy to get 15 and you're in the way of it. Like,
same as last
year. We don't want
Cena.
you to win. And last year was Cena. And exactly the same thing last year was Cena. So it's like, where do we go from this point? Like, the only way I see they can get out of it is a double turn. Not even just Cody turning heel now. You have to do a double turn. You have to get Randy back in that babyface position because you shouldn't have took him out in the first place. He's one of your top babyfaces and one of your last legends you have from that era, still currently wrestling on a full-time basis. and you turn Cody heel, it's not like Cody can't still go out and do the pressers and do the big events and do the shows if he's the top. Cody will be the top guy no matter what, if he's a good guy or a bad guy.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
like he's out here trying to break John Cena's Make-A-Wish record either. So I don't see the long-term or short-term harm in a Cody heel turn right now, even if it's not for the long term. I feel like they also have to make up for how bad Cena's turn was.
Yes, they do.
Like, they've done nothing to make up for that. Nothing. The closest thing they've got is this Gunther career killer thing, and that has a giant wedge in that now because how cold Gunther got. So
Yeah.
it's like we gotta do something to not only reheat this entire main event feud up for SmackDown, because again, SmackDown's kind of overall not been good. It's not just the main event. Everything's not been the best. So I was gonna say, go ahead. I've been going a little too long.
No, I mean, I was gonna. Did you want to move on to the rest of SmackDown, or do you have any more high-level thoughts on the McAfee situation? We'll get to predictions later because
Oh
I'm
no,
sure
I'm
more will
gonna
come up.
try to save a little bit because I know
Yeah.
I'm gonna argue with my co-host more about this.
All right. We'll save some for the DJ and Heel show. So SmackDown kicked off with Rhea Ripley. Obviously, this has been a few weeks now where this kind of feud has just been slowly, and I mean very slowly, coming along. She said she made it personal with Io after a kendo stick attack on Raw. Io came out and said that she wants Jade Cargill in the main event, which she got. I guess we can start with that and the main event. When I saw this, I thought, there's a couple things they could have. Are they going to write Io off due to injury? Is Io going to win and say, I want part of the main event? Something crazy like that. But it just kind of went to a really average match of Jade winning clean, and that was it. And I didn't really see what kind of effect this had. And again, another week where nothing of real value has been added to this feud, and we're a week out. So I don't know what you think in terms of how this has been all the way through.
I mean, as far as the match is concerned, Jade needed to go in looking strong with how little she's been wrestling.
That's true, yeah.
So I wasn't really mad at that. In terms of building the feud with Rhea, I agree. It's been as lackluster as everything else. They literally got into a shoot worky McShoot on Twitter, and instead of just going with it and saying, oh, okay, we got something, especially how they did it with Charlotte and Tiffany. That's what their real, spat they had in that ring is really what drew interest in their match. No one really wanted Tiffany and Charlotte in the first place. But then once they realized, what happened in the ring with them was real and they were shooting on each other, okay, Charlotte's even a bigger bitch than we thought she was. We're going to boo the shit out of her, and we love Tiffany now because she's the young girl who stood up to herself, to the mean big bully. So I feel like if they went to if they allowed Rhea and Jade to kind of play into that no one in the locker room likes Jade, instead of giving Jade a fucking faction out of nowhere.
I know. Which has done nothing, to be honest.
Completely the opposite. And don't get me wrong, B-Fab fits. Meechin stands the fuck out. I'm sorry. There's no reason why Meechin should be in that group.
Yeah.
Other than we had two random mid-carders who were doing nothing and already challenged for the US title, so we're just gonna throw them over there for now.
Just bodies for Rhea Ripley, wasn't it? That's all this was, I think.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's like, if they just leaned into the fact that, Rhea's kind of the locker room leader and the girls are behind her and no one really likes Jade, but Jade don't care that nobody likes her because she's that bitch. Like, if they just played into that more and did something around that kind of angle right there, people would care more about this feud. Instead, they've done the complete opposite and tried to get sympathy on Rhea when Rhea at this point in career really don't need no sympathy.
Yeah. I only remember three things from this feud, and that is the shoot stuff on Twitter, them comparing muscles, and Jade attacking Io on Raw. That's all I remember from this feud. It's just, the biggest prize in the women's. I get this probably wasn't the plan because of Bianca, but if you've got Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley, that's still a big deal on paper. And I just hope that it doesn't lead to a disaster on the match itself, because we could get another car crash like Charlotte and Tiffany last year, and we all know how bad that was. So I just hope that at least it ends up delivering on the night. Obviously, you think Rhea's going to have to be the general in this match to kind of elevate Jade. I am curious for that reason, and that is probably my only level of excitement for this match is how's it going to go on the night. So I guess they'll see. We've got 1 week left, but I don't even know if they'll be on SmackDown next week. So I imagine next week's SmackDown is going to be a showcase for people who aren't on WrestleMania and the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So we don't even know if we'll get another segment. So I guess we'll see. More women's stuff. We had Alexa Bliss who defeated Bayley. Match was fine. Again, I'm just not really invested in the women's tag fatal 4-way or triple threat, whatever it is, depending on the Bellas.
But I think the match itself will be great.
Oh yeah, I think it will. Yeah, because you look at the talent.
I think the match itself will be fine. You know what I mean? We don't care about it going into it, but I can see that match, the girls going out their way to try to steal the show.
Yeah. Remember 39 when we had those showcase matches to start each night, the 4-way tags? Something like that would be good. Just go out there and go nuts. And I think it might be like first hour maybe, or like first couple of hours. So I think the talent in there is
no tables broken or no blood,
no plunder.
I mean?
Yeah.
Any match would be fine. It's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Every match is meant to be the best.
And the talent in there is very, very good as well. But Alexa Bliss defeated Bayley. I'm glad we got a clean win. Well, not a clean win, but not a false finish for a change. Because I think all this has just been so many false finishes. Let's put them all in a match.
Yeah.
All right. It's time for your boy, Royce Keys.
Oh, God.
Royce Keys finally made his debut after, his in-ring singles debut after debuting at the Royal Rumble in January. Or was it February this year? I can't remember. Now, this has been...
I can't remember. I think it was February.
It was February,
but I can't remember either.
Yeah. So this has been one of my friend DJ here's hot topics, should we say. And I guess within our little community as well, it's been a hot topic. So he made his debut. He beat Berto. He was in his hometown, essentially. He's about a 20-minute drive away from San Jose. He looked good. He played all the hits. He did exactly what you would think a guy of that stature would do. I already know what you're going to say. So, DJ, what did you think of this, and how have you assessed the...
All right. So, as far as the match itself, I have no problem with it. It's it's what you need to do with Hobbs. Get his moves over, have him beat a schlub. I'm fine with that. But this is 2 months after his debut at the Rumble. Second of all, his music sucks.
It does.
I'm sorry. His music fucking blows. Like, for Powerhouse Hobbs, I'm sorry, it sucks. Compared to Trick Williams, Obafemi, and Javon's, it sucks.
Yeah. Not memorable at all.
Again, I'm not trying to be mean, Hobbs is one of my favorite talents, and I was begging for him to leave the AEW to go to WWE, and for WWE to not screw him up. I feel like they're doing the same exact thing they did to Rey Fenix last year. And as far as my co-host said on the record, Phoenix was dead on arrival. And they're doing the exact same thing. Debuting him a week before the go-home show of Mania. He might possibly get shoehorned into something out of nowhere on the Mania now that he's appearing on the show out of nowhere. It would have been more of a surprise and better for them if they did it after Mania.
That's what I was expecting.
It's the reset of a new season. It's like reading a book, and then right before you get to the ending of the book, there's a whole new character they introduce to the fucking story, and they give you no background, no origin, but this is you feel me? He's a main player in the story now, but he's only there for the last chapter. So
yeah.
Are you really, you know what I mean? That's what I mean in kind of dead on arrival. Like, yeah, this is a main player now, last chapter, out of nowhere. We got to make sure he's important. Again, I'm glad he beat Humberto Dorito. That's what I call Carrillo. But I mean, I think it's a little late. Like I said, we'll see in time. I could be wrong, but I think it's a little bit dead on arrival. He gets a little bit of pop because it's his hometown. Let's see what happens when he goes to Madison Square Garden or California or Las Vegas. Let's see what kind of pop he gets, or if it's going to be crickets and they're just like, oh, it's this big black Jack guy.
I'm with you. I was just going to say, I'm with you.
No,
and me and Brandon as well. We thought SmackDown after Mania, new start, fresh start, new faces, etc. So I was surprised to see him debut last night. Yeah. It must have been because it was his hometown. That must be the only reason they debuted him last night. Do you think he wins the Battle Royal next week? Andre the Giant Battle Royal? I think he's a big favorite to win that. I can't see anyone else.
I mean, that's what they kind of have to do. Who do we know who's in it yet? Or is it going to be announced like probably on Raw last minute to build for SmackDown.
I'd imagine if it's like just announced as SmackDown opens, it's like, all right, here you go. And it's like, people were joking that Danhausen should win it and just curse everyone to eliminate themselves. But I think if you've got somebody like Powerhouse Hobbs, as much as the Andre the Giant Battle Royal means literally nothing, I think you got to give it to Hobbs. I think there's nothing for him to do elsewhere. And what else is he going to do? You can't have a battle royal like that, not have him in it, and then have him wrestle someone else on the show. It just wouldn't work. He has to be in that match, and I think he'll win it. I don't really see anyone else. Again, we have no idea who's in it. But
I wouldn't be against him winning it. I just don't see, as you said, the Andre Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy or whatever the fuck it is, doesn't really mean shit. It's not like people are walking around with damn trophy half every week on the segments to win. First of all, that trophy's heavy as shit.
Bobby Lashley, WrestleMania, just comes out, holds it up, never seen again.
Never seen again. So like, I feel like, I don't know why they debuted him other than it was his hometown. It doesn't help him in the long run.
Yeah.
It doesn't establish him having an issue with anybody, which is really what you need to do when you debut him. You should debut him fucking out of nowhere spine bustering Sami. That's how you get the people to possibly either A, not boo Sami, or B, cheer the shit out of Hobbs and get him over as a babyface.
Yeah. Well,
like,
I think
that would have been awesome.
We talked about possibly debuting him as a heel. And I think last night with the video package they shot for him, they've obviously gone for the growing up rough sympathy angle. So he's definitely going to be a babyface. That's it. You can't turn him heel after that video package. So,
but I'm just saying, as far as making an impact, you know what I mean? That's honestly one of the biggest things in wrestling. It's not about how you debut. It's about how you make an impact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think putting him in there with Carrillo is just like, okay, he can do moves, but in a place where he can do big, nice, powerful moves, that doesn't really get you over like that. You got to be a character and a personality. So it's just like, if they did like, vignettes leading up to this, or have them do some backstage segments, staring people down, having an issue with people, or again, just like, instead of him debuting in a squash match, have him come out of nowhere, spine buster Sami, power slam him, look intimidating, get some heat, and walk the fuck up out of there. Then you're like, oh my God, this guy just destroyed Sami Zayn. Either, yay, we love him, or boo, you hurt our beloved Sami.
Yeah, you're right. Either way, as long as you get a reaction.
You know what I mean? I feel like he got a reaction because he was in his hometown, and he's wrestled there before.
Yeah.
It's not like he hasn't wrestled there. So it's not like people don't know his name or know who he is. Let's see, in a Madison Square Garden or a place where there's more WWE fans than smart fans.
Yeah. Well, they're in Vegas. I assume they're in Vegas for SmackDown as well next week, aren't they? Just before Mania. So we'll see what kind of reaction he gets in Vegas. That'll be interesting. Quick note on the backstage segment that kind of coincided with this. Carmelo Hayes was nursing a knee injury in the back, and this seemed to kind of all but confirm that he is not going to be part of WrestleMania. I don't know if he has a legit injury, and that's why he's not. That's what they're playing off on television. But I'm sure you're like me that, if he's not injured, leaving him off is a big mistake given the work he's put in this year.
I don't think he might be completely off, though. Maybe he's not medically cleared for the match, but then for the actual match himself, he comes in and costs Trick the belt the same way Trick cost him. And then for Backlash, because you can run back a Trick and Melo match without the belt.
Yeah, it doesn't need a belt. Sure.
Or you could just run it back with the 3-way for Backlash, because Backlash is mainly for rematches anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking this could be an angle, because I haven't seen any like real reports of Melo's out with a certain type of injury. He'll be gone for X amount of months or X amount of weeks.
That's
you know what I mean?
Usually,
I think this is more of an angle that I think this is just more of an angle because they want to do a single match with Trick and kind of give Trick his WrestleMania moment, but maybe also have Melo cost him his WrestleMania moment to build to, going on history in the future.
And I guess if they are going to do this rumored double turn on Trick and Sami, I guess it has to work with a singles match more than a triple threat match, maybe. But I guess priorities have been a bit all over the place in general, but we'll see what happens to Carmelo Hayes. I think he's had a great year anyway. But this segment led to Matt Cardona challenging Trick Williams for a match. And then we had the Pat McAfee thing, which we've spoken about. Jacob Fatu. So he had a run-in with the MFTs, and this led to a match with Tama Tonga. Match was fine, but I thought what happened after the match with Drew McIntyre was probably the best thing on the show. As Drew McIntyre has been for many months, he has been Mr. Consistency ever since his heel turn a couple of years ago. What do you think of this in general? And I'm actually really excited for this.
I was gonna say, I think this feud has been kind of underrated and under the radar just because everything else has been so bad, and that kind of has been more of the focal point of everyone's ire instead of the shit they're doing right. I'm kind of sad that this isn't for the belt because this would have been something new and interesting. It would have elevated Jacob, and I know Drew's so good on the mic and such a personality. He's able to get people and his issues over no matter who he's doing it with. So I think this is one of the perfectly done mid-card feuds in terms of, like I said, this ain't main event in either night. I don't think it's opening either night either. But I think this is going to be a solid big man match.
This is going to be first hour of night one. So second on, I think.
Yeah. But I also think in terms of a big man match, these are the two most athletic big men they have.
Yeah, I think so.
You know what I mean? Jacob's a high flyer. Drew can do some shit too. It's going to be a hellacious match. I think this is going to be, I want to say steal the show, but I think it'll be like top 3 if they do it right.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the vignette that Drew shot before this as well in the prison was just really well done. And, coming out with the handcuffs, tying up Jacob, playing on Jacob's criminal past. It's just the basic storytelling we like in wrestling, isn't it? Going personal, playing on people's past. I thought it was very well done. And I think that is going to be probably a night one stealer, I think. We then got to Trick Williams and Matt Cardona. Didn't really think much of this. I've kind of, is it just me? Have you kind of lost interest in this match now that Carmelo Hayes is not part of it? The kind of US title match?
Kind of, but not completely, because I kind of want to see where they go with Trick. And I still have an ongoing bet with everyone is if one black person loses their big match, that we're going to hear the narrative that Triple H is racist and he don't like black people. So
we are.
So if just remember that one black person lose, he's racist. Ain't no ifs, ands, buts. He's trying to bury all the black talent. Okay.
Hang on, it's just black men though, right? It's just black men though, right? Only applies to men apparently.
Yeah, only applies to the black ones.
Yeah.
The women, Jade's the champion. She's already winning in life.
Okay, she's good. I mean, Trick's amazing. I think Trick has been the most successful call-up in ages, up there with Oba. But, we haven't seen NXT call-ups this successful, I'd say, in a very long time. And I think that, Trick's hit the ground running like nobody's business. He's absolutely made now. Whether they keep him heel, turn him babyface, he's got the world at his feet. So, Sami is kind of a bit more interesting because we've had a bit of a conversation about Sami Zayn that everyone has. Everyone's sick of Sami Zayn, sick of the same character, the underdog. And we're obviously seeing a change in that now.
Okay, Kathis.
We're obviously seeing a change in that now.
Shout out to Kathis.
Big up, Keithus. But I was the same. Like, I was sick of Sami Zayn's character because ever since the Bloodline, which I thought he was the best part of, he kind of just went down the underdog that wins all the time, which didn't really make any sense. And now we're starting to see that he's changing. He's getting booed. He's taking advantage of situations he shouldn't have. And, so I'm all for some more character development for Sami Zayn because I do think what Sami Zayn does is good. It's just the content's been a bit stale for me. So I'm kind of interested in the outcome.
So I think Sammy's a good heel when he's in a group. He's a terrible heel when he's by himself.
You didn't like the conspiracy stuff?
No, I thought that was corny. Towards the end, it got better because then, at least with Roman, it made sense when he started going to Roman with his conspiracy theories and just being weird. But then you know what I mean? There's a reason why they dropped it. Yeah. It wasn't working. And you know what I mean? They were kind of funny skits ironically funny, but they weren't helping Sami in the long run. I think he's more interesting as a heel when he's in a group with other heels. Because then when he does heelish things, he comes off more as the stooge. You know what I mean? The Weasley stooge. That I'm just, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think if they're going to do a heel turn, he needs to get like another faction or something.
What about if he's a serious
left
heel?
For him to be a faction with?
What if he's a serious heel? Not like a goofy heel like he was last time, but like a vicious, serious heel. Do you reckon that would work for him?
Maybe. It depends. If Kevin Owens, like say he has his like first big heel program or whatever.
Yeah.
And then just as he's about to lose, Kevin Owens comes back and saves him. And they do like an evil version of the Jericho Owens best friend angle. Where they're just both evil, just shitting on people.
That'd be great.
They're the evil best friends. And I think that could work.
Shout out to Kevin Owens. We still miss him.
My favorite Canadian.
Yep. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. We'll get to those predictions very shortly. We had Danhausen making his in-ring debut. I wasn't expecting this either. Danhausen versus Kit Wilson in a Tokyo Dome 5-star classic. I think at this point in the show, I thought the show was bad. At this point in the show, when Danhausen cursed Kit Wilson and the pyro came up behind him on the top rope, I was just glad for some comedy relief because I pretty much felt nothing for the whole show up until this point. So I thought this was funny. Yes, it was stupid. Danhausen has a stupid gimmick, but it is kind of funny. And Kit Wilson I find really entertaining as well. But Danhausen won his debut. What did you think? Any thoughts on this at all, or was this just kind of there?
I like Danhausen better when he wasn't wrestling. Now that I've seen him wrestle.
He's not a good wrestler.
It's just like, I'm like, why can't we? All right, hear me out. Long-term storytelling here.
Okay.
If next year at WrestleMania, Danhausen has a WrestleMania match versus James Ellsworth, I'm all with it. This whole Danhausen thing will be fucking justified.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the only person he should be able to work competitive or have a competitive match with ever. No matter if he curses him or, like I said, I understand they're trying to appeal to the kids and he's a funny character and all that and blah, blah, blah. But the fact that Danhausen, they all went, you are cursed, and the fucking sparklers shot up Kit Wilson's ass kind of took me out of it. I'm sorry. I get that it's funny. It's funny in terms of if you're watching Jackass and it's a Jackass that, Wee Man's on the top rope about to jump onto Steve-O, and then Steve-O goes, look up, bitch. And then, a fire rocket goes up his ass. That's funny. I get it. In a wrestling context, I'm just like,
do you know what it reminded me of?
It's sad that we got here to wrestling. Like I said, Danhausen's a great character.
Yeah.
He gets his shit over. His shit is over. And I'm not trying to damn him as a person. I just do not like watching him after ding, ding, ding. No. Especially, even beating a guy like Kit Wilson is just like,
Kit Wilson's a good wrestler.
At least we know what we have to think about Kit Wilson for the rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's lower than fucking Danhausen. Doing jobs to Danhausen.
Do you know what this reminded me of? And this is not a good thing, but last week they did the angle where Danhausen cursed the referee and he couldn't make the 3 count as a result. It reminded me of
he got cramps. Yes,
it reminded me of Vince
in his masturbating hand.
2019 Vince. It reminded me of. You know what I mean? And not in a good way. Not that there was much good about that time, but
2026 Vince Russo. That was
Russo.
Thing.
Russo's probably a better example. Yeah, and like I say, like Vince McMahon did some incredible shit for a long time, but his latter years, those final years, were not good. And it revolved a lot kind of around this kind of stuff that's maybe a little bit too goofy sometimes. But I think as long as it's not flooding the whole show, then I can probably put up with it in a Danhausen, Kit Wilson type chamber. But Danhausen is going to have a role at WrestleMania. I wonder what he does. Do you think he has a segment with Cena as the host? Do you think that's a possibility?
Oh, probably. But it's not like he can curse Cena because Cena's retired. It's not like he's already cursed. He can't come back. He said he's not coming back. So I could see it, for Cena. Cena would, honestly, I could see John Cena offering to do something like that to try to give the rub off to Danhausen. And it be one of Danhausen's demands to host WrestleMania since he doesn't have a match or something.
Here's what I think happens. John Cena comes out. Kit Wilson interrupts him and accuses him of being toxic. Then Danhausen and Cena beat up Kit Wilson. I think that's what we'll get. Something like that. So where Danhausen's on Cena's side and they both kind of get cheers, and Kit Wilson will be the dummy again. But I guess that's his character. But yeah, I can see something like that happening. I think it would be good to have Danhausen on the show just because he is wildly popular, despite, I imagine, a lot of the casuals never hearing of Danhausen before he showed up for the first time. He would have just been completely unknown to most casual venue-going WWE fans. So it is nice to see him very popular. And then the main event, Jade Cargill.
He's definitely gotten over.
Yeah. Jade Cargill, Io Sky, already spoke about it. Match was fine. I think you're right. They probably just needed to give Jade some momentum, a big win over a big superstar.